which is the 7-year tribulation. And how long is this precise span of time? Jesus' first coming was prophesied and fulfilled in Daniel 9. His next coming, leading to the start of the final week, was in fact prophesied in Daniel 12, but it has been sealed until the time of the end. We are in the time of the end. Now we move on to Daniel 12. Daniel 12:11. And from the time that the daily sacrifice is taken away, this happened in 606 BC, when Jerusalem was besieged by the armies of Nebuchadnezzar, and the abomination of desolation set up. This was when Dome of the Rock was set up in 685 AD. There shall be 1,290 days. Between the siege by the Babylonian army and the Dome of the Rock set up on Temple Mount is exactly 1,290 years. Coincidence? The Dome of the Rock was completed in 691 AD, which brings us to the second part of this prophecy. Daniel 12:12. Blessed is he who waits and comes to the 1,335 days. Blessed is he who waits and comes to 1,335 years. And what is this event? It's the blessed hope, which Paul talks about in Titus 2:13. It's the rapture. When will that be? Exactly 1,335 years after 691 AD, in 2026. There we have it, the timeline hidden in the Daniel 12:12 prophecy. The rapture in 2026, followed by the 7-year tribulation from 2026 to 2032, and then the millennium kingdom of God in 2033. So are there other prophecies pointing to the start of the tribulation? Yes. The fig tree prophecy, the window for the tribulation to start. The fig tree prophecy in Matthew 24. In the Olivet Discourse, Jesus gave the signs of his coming and the end of age. He starts off with the beginning of sorrows, leading to the tribulation, and then the abomination of desolation, the great tribulation, ending with the second coming. Did Jesus only give the signs and the sequence of events that Peter, James, John, and Andrew asked for? No. In fact, he gave them the timeline. It is commonly called the fig tree prophecy. Jesus says, now learn this parable from the fig tree. Fig tree is a typology of Israel. Become tender, puts forth leaves, is the rebirth of Israel in 1948. This is the timeline for the countdown from 1948. Summer is near, means harvest is near. In fact, you can see this from Amos 8:2. Counting down from 1948, the next event is the summer harvest, followed by the tribulation. But how near? Now Jesus even gives the window for the tribulation to start. Assuredly I say to you, this generation will by no means pass away till all these things take place, the things on the left. What is the generation that Jesus is referring to? Traditionally, some say it's 40 years, some say it's 70 to 80 years, some say it's 120 years. 40 years from 1948 would have been 1988, so we can rule that out. The next one is 70 to 80 years, and this is taken from Psalms 90:10. The days of our lives are 70 years, and if by reason of strength they are 80 years, yet their boast is only labor and sorrow, for it is soon cut off and we fly away. Now let's look at the context to see if this is what Jesus is referring to. 70 and 80 years is the window. Verse 11, who knows the power of your anger? For as the fear of you, so is your wrath. This is the fear of God's anger and wrath in the tribulation. So teach us to number our days, that we may gain a heart of wisdom. This is to tell us to number our days as we see the window approaching. Verse 13, return, O Lord, how long? And have compassion on your servants. This is us pleading for Jesus' return, to deliver us from the floods of ungodliness in the world. Verse 14, oh, satisfy us early with your mercy, that we may rejoice and be glad all our days. This is us petitioning for an early return, perhaps even before the window ends. So from 1948, if we add 70 years and 80 years, we get 2018 as the start of the window to 2028 as the end of the window for the tribulation to start. But I noticed the verse says all these things. This would mean that the second coming of Jesus can start in 2028 by the latest. But that means the tribulation would have started in 2023. Let us now look at the Greek word for all. There are two Greek words for all. Holos, which means all, whole, or completely. But there's another word called pas, which can also mean all or any, and collectively, some of all types. Which word did Jesus use? Jesus used pas. So we can replace the verse to say, 2028 will not pass away till all or any of these things take place. Or we can say the tribulation must start by 2028 the latest. So now we have resolved the issue with the word all, and we can replace it with all or any, and read the verse as, this generation will by no means pass away till all or any of these things take place. Which means, as long as the tribulation starts by 2028, this prophecy will still be fulfilled. Now let's have an overview of the prophecies in the book of Daniel. Daniel 9 and Daniel 12, they are all about the coming of Jesus. After the 70-year exile in Babylon, at the end of the exile, a command was given to rebuild the walls and streets of Jerusalem in 444 BC. This kick-started the first prophecy, Daniel 9:25. From the going forth of the command to restore and build Jerusalem, that's A, until Messiah the Prince, that is Jesus' first coming in 33 AD, there shall be 483 days. And because this is a prophecy for the Jews, it is 483 prophetic years, which works out to 173,880 days. And before the exile, when Jerusalem was besieged by the Babylonian army in 606 BC, the daily sacrifice stopped. And this kick-started another prophecy in Daniel 12. And from the time that the daily sacrifice is taken away, C, and the abomination of desolation set up, D, which is when Dome of the Rock was set up in 685 AD, there shall be 1,290 days. And that is exactly 1,290 years. The Dome of the Rock was completed in 691 AD, and this kick-started the second half of Daniel 12. Blessed is he who waits and comes to the 1,335 days. Going forward, 1,335 years brings you to 2026, the blessed hope, which is the rapture. And this will be followed by the tribulation. We saw from the fig tree prophecy that 2018 and 2028 is the window for the tribulation to start. So Daniel 12:12 is fulfilled within the window in 2026. The tribulation is also the final week of Daniel 9's 70th week. And the 7 prophetic years works out to 2,520 days. The second coming of Jesus will be at the end of the 7th year, in the fall of 2033, before he establishes his millennium kingdom. So in summary, in Daniel 9, the first 69 weeks ends with Jesus' first coming. And the final week ends with Jesus' second coming. And in Daniel 12, the 2 timeline ends with Jesus appearing at the rapture. It's all about the coming of Jesus. The kingdom, hidden in the scriptures with the number 33. One day I was driving and I heard the Lord say, search for the English word kingdom in your NKJV Bible, because he knows I used the NKJV translation. So I did, and it showed